The defense in Washington. Remember, the defense was going to carry them in 2023 if Sam Howell started slow. Oh, boy, did that not come to fruition. Emmanuel Forbes, first-round pick. Boy, did that not come to fruition. Quan Martin, you saw something late in the year, but that took a while. Regardless, Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio said they were going to create more turnovers last year. They did not do so. The defense was abysmal. Joe Whitt comes to town. Now, Dan Quinn also is a defensive-minded guy, but Joe Whitt comes to town. Mitch, he killed it in the press conference. We've seen too many great press conferences to get overly excited, but man, he's got a real sense about him, a real energy that was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I loved him talking about, hey, we're going to run things a certain way. We're going to fly to the football and we're going to be a violent defense. And if that's not your style, then you might not be in the right place. And I kind of love that energy and that enthusiasm and the way that, he's attacking what this defense can be.
The big man is fired up. I like it. So specifically with Joe Whitt, if you look at his track record, even when he was in Green Bay as a position coach and then in Dallas as the pass game coordinator, he has been around some really, really good defensive passing schemes, and they generate a lot of turnovers. My question for Joe is fairly simple. You were really good at this in Dallas. Can you be really good here in Washington?
Everything that we're going to try to do starts with the quarterback, all right? We want to make that quarterback play post-snap as much as possible. These quarterbacks are too good. So if you allow them to see the structure that you're lined up in and tell them the truth with it, and so they know the coverage or they know where the pressure is coming from, it's going to be a difficult day for you. So as much as possible, what we've done in Dallas from a disguise standpoint and a pressure standpoint is trying to make that quarterback play post-snap, and now the rushing coverage, which is always a good marriage, they can come to life together. And so that's what we're going to try to do. That's why we've had success in not only my time in Dallas, but in Green Bay, that stretch. We're known for turning the ball over, and that's what we're going to do here.
And being known for turning the ball over, is that something you can teach, or is some of that just the way balls bounce on game day? How can you get this group, because they kind of tried to do that in the past, and it hasn't really come to fruition?
Well, I mean, you can coach it some. The first thing is you have to have players that can catch the ball, okay? That's the number one thing, and that might sound simplistic, but that's the truth. Once you get quarterbacks playing post-snap, all right, they're making errant throws. Most interceptions aren't on good thrown balls. They're on tips and overthrows. They're on inside hip throws, on outside breakers. Now, when you have those opportunities on those plays, you got to make them. All right, you gotta bring the ball to life, and you'll hear me talk about this all the time. The ball is life, all right, and so it's like air, and we gotta have it. We gotta get it. Most drills that you see us on the field will end with some kind of guy catching the ball, picking the ball off a fumble. Just understanding that how to get the ball out from a punch, a rake, or what have you. We're going to attack the ball every kind of way we can in practice, so it translates into the game.
Last year with the Cowboys, obviously, Michael Parsons is a special player, but you moved him around the defense a lot and kind of got creative a little bit with him. How much of that is a staple of kind of the type of defense that you want to bring to Washington and kind of creating matchups for players like that?
Well, Micah is a unicorn, so he's a little bit different, but it doesn't take a unicorn to be creative, all right? I like to think of our defense, and even going back to Green Bay, as sort of a positionalist defense, because – and just follow me with this here. You can take a Micah Parsons and put him at linebacker in the 4-down spacing, or you can put him at a end and 5-down spacing, okay? Or you could take a J-Ron Curse, who we've had as a safety, a Buffalo nickel, and then you can put him in a linebacker-type spacing. It changes the ID for the centers when you do that. It changes that point, and depending on is Micah out there with 4 bigs, or how they're going to consider him. Are they going to put the back on him? Good luck if you want to. All right, or you're going to slide to them. So we have some guys here that we feel that can create some real matchup problems with people. And you're gonna hear me talk about feed the studs. You got to earn your right to be a stud, so we can design things particularly for you. And we will get creative with, especially our pressure package of how we get to the quarterback and who we send to the quarterback, depending on how they prove it on the practice field.
Now, listen, obviously Michael Parsons is one of the best players in the NFL, and I'm not saying that there's somebody that can step in and do that right away here in Washington, but I did love hearing Joe Whitt talk about feeding the studs. Let them prove that they're a stud, and then he'll start catering a defense around them. I think this is the first time that a Washington defense is going to be challenged to step up to the plate and prove who the best players are on this defense instead of being kind of given positions based on draft status. And so I really like that out of Joe Whitt. And when you look at his staff, he's did a lot of the same things that Cliff Kingsbury's done, brought in people from every different level of organizations and folks that are going to hold players accountable. And accountability wasn't the strength of the previous regime.